For a lot of people, solitude isn't some empty space that you're supposed to be afraid of. It's more like a workshop. It's that quiet studio where our best, most profound ideas are actually built from the ground up. So today, we're going to explore the blueprint of that quiet space.
Have you ever felt that? That deep, almost physical need to just get away from all the noise, just so you can actually hear yourself think? If you've been there, well, you're definitely not alone in your need to be alone. So let's get into why that silence is so incredibly essential for some of us. Okay, so let's just dive right into this. Because society, well, it has a very specific and honestly, a very wrong idea about people who prefer their own company. We call them the lone wolf, right? And it's usually not meant as a compliment. But what if we've been reading that map completely wrong this whole time? Yeah, this contrast between what people see and what's actually happening is so important. The stereotype sees someone who's antisocial, but the reality is often a really deep thinker who's just, processing the world around them. What looks like brooding on the outside is often just a mind that gets stimulated really easily and needs a break from all the constant input. And that assumption of unhappiness, it totally misses the deep contentment that you can find when you choose to be in solitude. So let's shift gears from the social myth to the psychological reality. This need for quiet, it isn't some weird personality quirk or a flaw. For a lot of us, it's a fundamental requirement for how our brain functions. Seriously, it's not about avoiding people, it's about essential mental and cognitive maintenance. The key concept here is something called cognitive recharge. The best way to think about it is like plugging in your phone. Your brain, after being blasted with conversations and notifications and just constant data, it needs to plug into a quiet, low-stimulus environment to decompress, sort through everything it's taken in, and basically restore its own power. And this whole process, this recharge cycle, it pretty much always looks like this. You start out in a high-stimulus environment. Think of a busy office or a crowded party. This leads straight to information overload, where your brain just feels foggy and overwhelmed. So, that retreat into solitude, that's the decompression phase. And the result? That wonderful, clear-headed feeling of mental clarity. It's a totally natural and necessary cycle. Now, we have to make a really, really vital distinction here, because these two words get used interchangeably all the time, but honestly, they are worlds apart. Being alone is not the same thing as being lonely. One is a choice, and the other is a painful circumstance. Let's just break this down. Solitude is a state you choose. It's a retreat that you control. It's really an act of strength and self-sufficiency. Loneliness, on the other hand, is an imposed feeling of isolation that you do not want. And here's the most important part. Healthy solitude actually makes you better at connecting with other people because you're coming to them fully charged. Loneliness does the exact opposite. It just pushes you further away. So, far from being a negative thing, we can now start to see solitude as this incredibly powerful and productive state. It's not about escaping the world, it's about building your own. It's the time you set aside to be the architect of your own mind. I just love this framing of it. It captures the whole idea perfectly. In that quiet, you aren't just sitting there doing nothing. You are actively designing. You're drawing up the blueprints for your beliefs, you're sorting through tough problems, and you're constructing your own understanding of the world without all that outside noise trying to influence you. And these are the real, tangible results of all that architectural work. In solitude, your creativity isn't getting interrupted every 5 minutes. You can follow a really complex problem all the way to its conclusion. You become way more aware of your own feelings, which of course leads to better emotional regulation. And by wrestling with ideas on your own, you develop a much stronger, more authentic sense of conviction. So we've kind of gone on a journey here, from a common stereotype all the way to a deeper truth. Solitude isn't an escape at all, but a source of incredible, quiet strength. If you take just one thing away today, please let it be this. That desire you have to be alone, it is not something you need to apologize for. It's not antisocial. It is the necessary condition for your mind to do its most important work. It is your design studio, your workshop. It's the architect's room. And that leaves us with one final thought. This isn't a passive state. It's an active one. It's a space that you can cultivate and build within yourself. So the question is, what will you build in yours? How are you going to design your solitude?